Welcome to the Deep Dive by Outlier, where we uncover the market's hidden trends and give you the edge you need. Head on over to ovtlyr.com right now to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. Now let's jump right in.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another Deep Dive. Today we are going to be tackling China-U.S. trade relations.
Yeah.
Specifically, how they're kind of sorting things out after the U.S. election.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how these two economic giants work things out right.
For sure. And we've got some pretty interesting stuff to talk about from CNBC's article. China urges U.S. cooperation as Trump trade threat looms.
Definitely a lot to unpack there.
Absolutely. So I think everyone's probably wondering, like, what's really going on behind all these official statements, you know? What's the real deal?
Right. Yeah, it's all very carefully worded.
Exactly. So let's dive in. Right after the election results came out, China's Ministry of Commerce put out a statement all about mutual respect,
right,
peaceful coexistence, and of course the classic
win-win cooperation.
Win-win cooperation. It's like they sent us a telegram.
Dripping with diplomacy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a strategic move on their part, given, all the trade tensions they've had?
Oh, for sure. The timing is definitely interesting. It came right after President Xi congratulated Trump,
Oh, yeah.
And his message was also all about cooperation. So it seems like China is really trying to set a positive tone for the trade talks coming up.
Okay, so is this like a genuine olive branch, or are they just trying to, play nice for now? What do you think they're hoping to gain with all this let's be friends stuff?
Well, I think there are a few things at play here. First, they could be genuinely worried about a trade war. I mean, remember, Trump already put tariffs on billions of dollars of Chinese goods during his first term.
Oh, yeah.
And he campaigned on adding even more tariffs.
Yeah, he wasn't shy about it.
Not at all. And China knows a trade war would be bad for their economy. So it makes sense for them to try and cool things down.
Right. That makes sense. But do you think there's more to it than just damage control?
Oh, absolutely. By emphasizing cooperation, they're also trying to look like the reasonable ones. The U.S. wants to stay ahead in technology, and China wants to catch up and even overtake them.
So is this technology arms race just inevitable? Are we headed for a future where the U.S. and China are constantly trying to outdo each other in the tech world? We'll tackle that question and more when we come back for the final part of our deep dive into U.S.-China trade. Don't go anywhere.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into U.S.-China trade relations. Before the break, we were talking about how technology has become like this battleground, between these two global superpowers. But is this tech race a zero-sum game? Does one side have to lose for the other to win?
It can feel that way sometimes, for sure, with all this talk about decoupling and strategic competition. But I think it's important to remember that even rivals can find ways to work together.
Right.
Especially when they're facing the same global challenges. Like climate change, for example.
Well,
you can't exactly win a trade war against rising sea levels.
Exactly. Climate change, pandemics, threats to global security. These are things that need everyone to work together, not fight. And, working together on these big challenges could actually build trust and reduce tension in other areas.
So cooperation in one area could lead to a better relationship overall. That's interesting. But let's bring this back to our listeners. What's the takeaway from all this? How should we think about this whole complicated relationship between the U.S. and China?
Well, I think the main takeaway is that this relationship is just too important to ignore. It's shaping the whole world in really big ways. And it's going to keep doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
So the decisions that leaders, businesses, and even individuals make on both sides will determine whether we end up in a world of conflict or a world of cooperation.
So what can we do? Should we just sit back and watch this whole thing play out?
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Stay informed, stay involved, and don't be afraid to ask questions and challenge what you hear. Read articles from different sources. Listen to podcasts like this one and have thoughtful discussions. The more we understand about this relationship, the better prepared we'll be to deal with the challenges and the opportunities that come with it.
Yeah, knowledge is power. And speaking of knowledge, we've covered a lot today. From China's call for cooperation and the impact of tariffs to geopolitics and the tech race. But we've really only scratched the surface.
Yeah, if you're interested in learning more, there are tons of resources out there, books, articles, think tanks, you name it.
It's like peeling back an onion, right? Each layer reveals something new and fascinating. The more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. But for now, it's time for us to wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
It's been great exploring all this with you. And remember, the future of U.S.-China relations isn't set in stone. It's being shaped right now. And your informed voice can be part of that process.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep thinking critically. We'll see you on our next deep dive.
Hey, thanks so much for deep diving with us today. Head on over to outlier.com. That's OVTLYR.com to save time, make money, and start winning with less risk today. And we'll see you next time.